Welcome to Leading in AI with Greg Shove, a series from Spark and Section created to help New Zealand businesses confidently navigate the evolving world of AI. I'm Ben Moore, your host for this series. Joining me is Greg Shove, CEO of Section, an online business school helping professionals become AI literate, and founder of Machine and Partners, an AI development lab building practical tools and workflows for businesses around the world. Greg is a world-class educator on everything AI in business. Today, we're exploring a key question for any business investing in AI. How do you work out if it's actually delivering value? Greg, welcome back. Episode 2 of our series. Nice to see you again.
Good to be here, Ben.
So today we're going to start off with talking about ROI with AI projects. So what are some of the projects that you're seeing that are having the most meaningful returns on the investment that people are putting into them? And what can we learn from those examples?
Sure. Well, first of all, let's kind of admit something. Most of AI ROI is what I call vibe ROI. You might have heard of vibe coding. Vibe coding is the new Silicon Valley expression for people who don't know how to code, who can now code because they're using AI as their coding assistant. And now all of us can be software engineers if we want to be. That's sort of the ethos, I guess, in Silicon Valley right now. We call that vibe coding. So I think that ROI for AI is mostly vibe ROI, which is, it feels good, and we are yet to see the return. I believe we will, but there are obviously some examples of good ROI. But really, the bet on ROI for AI is there'll be a lift in general productivity across the knowledge workforce. And I think the way that will show up, it probably takes a year or more, quite frankly, is in less headcount, meaning you'll be able to hire less people because they can do a little bit more work. So what I tell my teams is that in 1 year, the more we use AI and the more we adopt AI for new use cases and really put AI throughout the organization, throughout our workflows, one of three things will happen. And I think this is what most CFOs, frankly, are expecting when they think about ROI. One of three things will happen to teams. Some teams will stay the same size and just be able to do more work because they'll be AI enabled. Some teams will grow because of AI, because AI makes those teams that much more valuable. And if that team is more valuable, as a CEO or CFO, you want more of those people. The obvious example is sales. If AI makes salespeople that much more effective, so they can generate more revenue, I think pretty much every CEO in the world will say, I want more salespeople because with AI, they're that much more productive, right? Perhaps that's the same with software engineers or customer success. People that are close to revenue or doing things that are hard, if they're enabled to do those things better, faster, cheaper with AI, I think, again, we want more of those people in our teams. And then some teams, I think a lot of teams will be a little bit smaller, meaning, the workload can stay the same, but AI has offered these productivity gains, so the teams will be smaller. So what I'm seeing right now in Silicon Valley is that CFOs are expecting in the future to be able to have less headcount growth as the business grows. And right now, the what's been flying around sort of as a meme, if you will, the leaked memo from Toby Lutke, who's the CEO of Shopify, a large software company, e-commerce company, 8,000 employees, and he leaked a memo, or someone leaked a memo rather, and in that memo included a couple, basically rules of the road for AI at Shopify. One of those rules is now you can't ask for a headcount unless you can prove the AI can't do the work. So there's no more human headcount unless, as a manager, you're showing you're maximizing your use of AI. The second thing that was in that memo was that in performance reviews now for every employee, their AI proficiency and adoption would be part of their performance review. So that's an example of his CEO saying, listen, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of what's been slow adoption of AI. And by the way, I'm a software company, so I have salespeople, customer success people, marketing people, and software engineers. All my company is basically a language-intensive business. So I expect AI to generate significant returns for us. And now I'm going to really accelerate this adoption by basically laying down the law. And I think we're going to see more and more CEOs do this because they can see the potential gain, and that gain is making the company more headcount efficient, quite frankly. So that's going to be, to me, the core of the business case. I think in some cases, Ben, people will invent new products and services with AI and accelerate their businesses, grow their businesses with new revenue, new customers, by coming up with new products or services. We call that acceleration. And then the final piece will be transformation. Some companies will transform themselves in a very significant way by using AI and build their business case on entering a new market, creating a whole new line of business with AI. Most of us, I think, will optimize our organizations, optimize our workflows. If we've got people sitting in front of desks, at desks in front of computers, they're going to get gains from AI, and I think we're going to be more efficient organizations, and that's how we're mostly going to pay for it. The obvious example, Ben, is call centers. That's a job where we trained humans to behave like robots. So now using robots to do that work is probably the right thing, quite frankly. And the reason those business cases are so good for call centers is that there's lots of training data for the AI, so the AI can do that well. There's lots of kind of metrics or KPIs you can measure the AI against, which is calls per hour or resolved tickets per hour, whatever the metrics are for a call center or customer service center. So there's good metrics. The AI can do that work, and we have been using AI in that area of our business already. So consumers are used to it. Customers are used to a high degree of automation in their call center or customer service interactions. So that's really gone first, as far as I can tell, in terms of bringing AI into the workforce, and that will replace humans with AI. But that's a very narrow use case. For the rest of the organization, I think it's a lift in productivity and probably less headcount required to run the business 12 to 24 months from now.
What about, so maybe you've got people in senior positions and they're saying, look, we're spending X amount per employee per month on these AI tools. I'm not sure we're getting the returns. How can you kind of mollify some of those concerns?
Yeah, I think you got to constrain the pilot then. Narrow the pilot down to a smaller group. What is a tolerable spend for 6 to 12 months without any evidence of a productivity gain? That's the question you have to ask. So if your tolerance is $10,000 or $5,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, depending on the size of the organization, constrain the pilot to that level of investment that you're comfortable gambling with that money, betting on the outcome for at least 6 months, maybe 12. So listen, this doesn't have to happen overnight. Some organizations are going very quickly with AI adoptions. Others are moving more slowly. It depends what industry you're in. Depends what competitive threat that you might have to AI. So most of us have time though. Most of us have time to figure this out, go at a measured pace. And the measured pace to me is pick a pilot with enough people that matters. I don't think it's 5 people. The pilot can't be that small. I think you need a decent number of people, 20, 30, maybe 100, something like that, 1,000 if you're a large organization. Bet an amount of money you're willing to lose if you don't see any return and run your experiment. Be serious about your experiment. Here's the good news, Ben. This is not rocket science. It's just hard. Meaning these technologies are rocket science. But the deployment and adoption of AI is not rocket science, it's change management. And we've been doing this for the last 20 years in terms of getting our organizations digitally transformed and digitally capable. This is, I think, more challenging than digital transformation because AI is a very sort of unique technology. But a lot of the same principles of change management apply to get the ROI you're looking for, which is you need to get 25, 30, 40, 50% of your team adopting AI. 10% won't give you the ROI. Anybody can get 10%, in my opinion, inside of an organization in terms of adoption and usage. Because there's always 5 or 10% of an organization that is growth mindset oriented, is change oriented, are early adopters. That's the easy win, but that's not enough for ROI. You have to get past 25%. That's the tipping point in change management, and you need to get there on the way to 50%. 50% adoption and usage weekly of AI. You get there, I think you're going to see both the gains you're looking for and the rest of the organization follow. And I would expect in 3 years, most organizations, Ben, will be at 75% plus weekly and then daily usage of an at least one AI tool.